I've never been a follower of Boogie, but recently there's been a story that while I initially felt pity for back when it first dropped, today I feel a much different emotion, as you can probably guess. Let's just say that he's proved he'll take it to any lengths he can to make people feel sorry for him, and that includes lying about having cancer in this short deep dive we're about to take together. Shout out to the channel members like always, and if you'd want to support yourself, you can subscribe to my Patreon in the corner or YouTube memberships by clicking the join button. I hope you liked the video. Now let's see just how everything started way back in 2022. Back on October 5th, 2022, Boogie will upload a video on his channel asking for his subscribers and fans for help. It turns out that after making poor cryptocurrency investments, he was now broke as he lost almost everything according to himself, basically trying to e-bag his way out of the hole he currently dug himself into. It's not exactly interesting or deep or really important to go into detail about. It was just another attempt from this man to get money from his fans online rather than get a job. But by this point in time, most people knew he was already kind of a loser like that, so no one paid any major attention to the news, with about half mainly just laughing him off for falling for a crypto scheme. Now while people laughed and made fun of Boogie for going broke and e-begging online, nothing major would come of this, as let's face it, it's not our jobs to donate money to someone who is stupid enough to invest in a crypto scam, and so they move on with their lives. However, things would start to get serious in his life, as on November 15th, just a little over a month later, Boogie would announce he had a rare form of cancer called polycythemia vera in a video he posted on his channel.
That I likely could potentially have a form of cancer. Turns out I got a rare blood cancer called polycythemia vera, which basically makes your body produce too many red blood cells.
I want to point out how he said he does have it rather than thinks he might have it, which obviously tells the audience he indeed has this cancer in his body and that he promotes this as a confirmed cancer diagnosis. Even on Twitter, he would go on to say that he got officially diagnosed with it, again, meaning that he 100% has this cancer in his body, even if it doesn't seem to be a very deadly one. Now, almost a full year would pass and nothing interesting would come out about this cancer diagnosis, to be honest. He'd say he has it, but it wasn't that big of a deal, so it seemed that nobody really paid any attention beyond just giving their condolences and hoping he dealt with it soon. However, things seemed a bit off, as in a documentary that YouTuber Mike Klum made about Boogie, he would go to his house and ask him questions and all that, and one thing they would go over was his medical issues, except he doesn't mention this cancer at all in the entire time he's listing off his ailments.
Oh no, I'm not going to say it on camera where it could hurt somebody. I like offensive humor. I like dark jokes. I say f***ed up shit. I think the darker something is, cancer, murder, child abuse, the darker it is, the more important it is to make jokes about it.
Here's everything that's wrong with Boogie. Low testosterone, testicular hypogonadism, sleep apnea, swelling due to blockages of lymphatic flow, degeneration of lumbar or lumbosacral intervertebral disc. That means my back don't work so good. History of basal cell carcinoma, that's cancer, and of course I can't breathe so good, so asthma and allergies as well.
This documentary was posted on October 31st, 2023, meaning that by this point in time, it was well known that Boogie said he officially has polycythemia vera cancer. Yeah, he doesn't mention it not once. You can even go check it out yourself if you like to. He did mention the basal cell carcinoma, but that was also prefaced with history, meaning that he either had it once and it's now gone, or it runs in the family. It's never really specified. Either way, polycythemia vera was never mentioned not once throughout this entire list of ailments or in the video at all, and given this is what he used as a way to get people to feel bad for him, it was strange it wasn't mentioned throughout the runtime, as he was gladly able to list every other ailment he had in the book. Months would pass once again, as while people knew Boogie said he had cancer, he never really talked about it much and people never really questioned it, because if there's one thing you don't expect someone to lie about is having cancer, especially from someone who by all means is barely hanging on to their internet career after years of fuck-ups. Nonetheless, everyone would move on in their lives. Boogie would form a podcast at Keemstar called Locale Life to below average to middling results, and overall, things were going alright for the guy. However, Boogie had one more trick up his sleeve in his desperation for money, and in turn would open up what is quite literally the biggest can of worms in his entire career, and that's saying something. Remember how Boogie fell for a crypto scam back in 2022 and admitted to doing so in that October 5th video we just went over? Well, in his search to make a quick buck, he decided to promote his very own crypto scam called Fatty Coin on his YouTube channel and Twitter for $10,000 on June 26, 2024, meaning he was willing to throw away what little of a career he had left for the smallest 5-figure sum someone can possibly get.
Fatty is a community for like-minded individuals that have broken free from the matrix. True happiness comes from a goldfish, from the same woman a couple of nights a month, and the occasional meme coin. Fatty for life.
Now, it was very obvious from the start this was a scam coin and not an actual crypto project, and so people start to talk mad shit about him online as he gave them a very good reason to trash on him for what he was doing. He would try to circumvent the hate by making a post on Twitter saying only rich people with money should be the only ones investing into it as a way to somehow get people off his back. But that only added to everything as it showed he was aware this coin was bullshit. Otherwise, why promote it for rich people only who have nothing to lose? The point of investing is to get a viable product working in the future potentially, and by saying you'll probably lose money and still promoting it shows that Boogie was in it for the quick money and nothing else. Even though he tried to get the heat off his back, it was far too late, as some fans did fall for the scheme and lost money in the process. A whole bunch of people make videos trashing on him because he deserves it. Boogie showed he was willing to scam his own fans for money, and people bring up the old crypto scam from 2 years ago, even though by this point it was just another bitterly ironic situation in the tale of Boogie. He tried to spin this as if he was just making a funny video not targeted at his fanbase and that it was actually crypto bros he was aiming for, but it was clear he was just trying to make himself out to be a victim instead of taking the L. It would only get worse as people take a look at Boogie's Twitter to see that even before the video dropped he was promoting a page called pump.fun, meaning he was well aware he was promoting a pump and dump scam for his audience to buy into. As the internet started to trash on him, he would start to bring up his cancer diagnosis as a way to deflect criticism, implying that he needed the 10,000 so badly he was willing to promote a scam, showing that he was getting desperate. He would also mention that he let CoffeeZilla, a YouTuber known for digging into crypto scams, interview him. And sure enough, the very day he launched the scam coin, CoffeeZilla will upload the interview he had with Boogie for the world to see. It would start off with Coffee saying that Boogie actually came to him in DMs before he even publicly announced the scam and said he went through with it because of hospital bills. And at the very beginning of the interview, things are already rough as Boogie would immediately try to defend himself, saying it was just a meme coin and everybody knew by this point it wasn't.
Boogie, it looks like you launched a crypto token that is a scam, a pump and dump. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I don't think it's a pump and dump. It is a meme coin.
It's literally from a thing called pump.fun. What are you talking about?
I never knew who pump.fun was until today.
Well, that's what you tweeted. That's what you tweeted. You said, oh, we're going to break.
I learned about it today, so I also tweeted about it today.
Boogie would try to defend himself, saying it was all just a joke he was promoting and nothing serious. And Coffee pushed back against it because it's obviously just a bunch of bullshit, with Boogie starting to pull his self-pity card out to get Coffee to feel bad for him to no avail.
I don't know if you understand what my life is like right now, but I have so much free time that I spend a lot of it on my Discord now because I'm just bored out of my mind. I don't have places to go. I don't have money to spend. I'm literally just fighting for my life over here, and a lot of that involves staying home, spending my money where it needs to be spent, and trying to just not stress myself out to make my polycythemia vera any worse.
Now you heard how he brought his cancer into this, meaning that not only is he trying to get pity by painting himself as a complete loser, he's also further perpetuating that the cancer was one of the reasons why he scammed his fans. Boogie would say he got half the money from the people running the crypto coin and already spent it at the hospital, again reinforcing that he did this for his own health's sake.
The money's already spent. It's at Mercy Hospital right now. It's gone. I used it to pay debts. I used it to pay medical debts.
You didn't have to tweet that tweet. You didn't have to tweet it out.
He would try to say how he didn't think people would take the coin seriously despite falling for a similar scam himself years ago, showing that he understands what he's doing, he just simply doesn't care. He would again bring up how he has all these medical bills to pay as that's the only thing he has in any way to defend himself for what he did. And it became pretty clear that he knew what he was getting himself into the whole time and simply just wanted easy money at the expense of his own fan base.
If I'm being genuine with you, and I do want to be genuine with you and the rest of the internet, I'm in pretty dire need of money. I have a lot of medical bills, and I'm fighting cancer, and I'd very much like not to fuck around with my healthcare too much, but that's something I would genuinely have to consider. And I know that from watching your videos in the past, if I say maybe here, a lot of people are going to take that as a no, and it might end up being a no. So I may as well give you a hard no here because I very, very much need the money. I'm on $1,800 for the medications right now. I need the money to pay for that. I have a $2,000 a month mortgage. I genuinely would like very much to heat my home.
The rest of the video is basically more the same, of Boogie constantly bringing up the money to afford his medical expenses. But the thing is that most people don't scam others to make ends meet like that, especially a YouTuber who's barely hanging on to his career. I initially saw this story and ignored it because I wasn't surprised Boogie scammed his fans. But the next stuff that came out after this is by far the most shocking thing to see. As people kept trashing on the dude, Boogie would start to cope on Twitter and try to make jokes about everything to no avail, and would even upload a video talking about how they burn coins to increase the value despite the whole point of it being a scam and that people probably wouldn't make any money at all. He would even start to try and pity himself some more after YouTuber Some Ordinary Gamer said he wishes his cancer would win as he really hates Boogie. But again, people know how Boogie likes to cling on to anything someone says and try to twist it into a pity party for himself. But this time it wasn't working, as if there's one thing people don't like is a scammer. He would even start saying how he'll sell his 2% in Fatty Coin if it goes to $1 million market cap, despite saying how he'll never sell earlier, showing that he's going all over the place and losing his mind as people kept hounding on the man for scamming his audience. Boogie would even say he was going to go live soon to talk about it, but didn't. And at one point would even try to imply that CoffeeZilla is either leeching off his name or is a hack because he doesn't want to talk to the people running the scam in the first place, when it's pretty obvious the story is about him, not the other people behind it, because it's literally his name, likeness, and brand written all over the coin, not some random crypto losers who got rich scamming people online their whole lives. It was very pathetic seeing Boogie try to skew this kind of narrative, but it's not shocking at all, showing that all he has to do is admit that he didn't care he was scamming his fans for money, but instead he was just trying to do whatever he could to get this heat off his back to no avail. The livestream would eventually happen later on in the day, but it has since been taken down, but from what I've been told, it seems like it was mainly more coping from the guy, so it doesn't seem like we're missing out on much here. More of the same would come from Boogie, including how he admits for 5 years he's been doing stupid stuff and keeps getting talked about for it, while also saying that he really wishes people would stop in a failed attempt to seem unbothered by what's going on somehow. He would even make a really bad tweet trying to apologize for what he did and deflect how it was supposed to form a community and how it was just a meme coin to make people laugh and have fun, when in actuality, since he's been through this himself, he knows it was a scam the entire time. He simply didn't care because he wanted that 10K payday to help for his cancer treatments and medical bills. It would eventually get deleted after he realized nobody was falling for his bullshit, and it was clear by now that this wasn't just another small Boogie mistake. This was a massive career-defining move that will never go away no matter what. Later on, Boogie would admit the money he got was for the cancer treatments themselves, notably saying that he probably shouldn't have typed that out for some reason. He would even go on to make fun of Mr. Mediker, a content creator who has cancer as well, about how he'll die soon and such, yet earlier when Some Ordinary Gamers did it, he threw a hissy fit over it and tried to use it to get pity for himself, showing just how much of a hypocritical loser he is. Even so, at the end of the day, it did seem he made a serious dent in his career so he could help get medical help for cancer, and as stupid as that is, there's at least a reason behind it that people can latch on to. Despite constantly changing his story around until people bought one of them, they weren't letting this off very easy due to their hatred for scammers, and just when they thought this story was over and it was just Boogie scamming his fans, it would end up growing into something that, while not shocking to me, was shocking for a lot of other people who are fans of the guy. Now on July 4th, Boogie and Some Ordinary Gamers would actually meet together at Keemstar's place to hang out, and while it was pretty funny trying to see Boogie post up to someone who can easily ruin his career, this was nothing compared to what was coming next. During the build-up of the crypto scam stuff into the month of July, streamer Destiny will learn about how Boogie scammed his fans and how he was trying to justify it by saying how he needs it for his cancer stuff. And at the very end, after looking into it himself, he would say that he believes he doesn't have cancer and is using it for sympathy.
I hope you get
really
better.
appreciate that.
I hope you get better with your sickness. And
Yeah, it's cancer, man. People don't generally get better.
Why would you say that if you had cancer? It's cancer. You don't get better from it. That's so absolutely not f***ing true. Depends on the type of cancer. Depends on the condition of the patient. Why would you just say it's cancer? There's no hope. That's such a stupid f***ing thing to say. No shot. He's lying. He's absolutely lying. He's absolutely lying about it.
During his research, he would come across something called secondary polycythemia. Basically the non-cancer version of what Boogie says he has, which is polycythemia vera, something that can be induced by outside factors like testosterone supplements or other medications. He will leave it off thinking that Boogie's probably lying and move on because it wasn't exactly nothing concrete or something he cared to look into more, with the cycle dying down after the crypto scam story ran its course. Now, Keemstar would end up raging on Locale Live about the Boogie crypto scamming stuff because Boogie made it sound like Keem wasn't paying him his money, and Destiny would say he wanted in on the show to talk to Boogie himself. Not many people expected this to happen given it seemed like just another internet drama, but then on July 10th, 2024, Destiny would actually get invited onto the show while recording a podcast episode of Mega Streamer XQC, in which things would already get very strange, as when Boogie said that his doctor ordered a bone marrow biopsy to confirm it, he would say he never actually got it in the first place because of money issues.
That tells me I have polycythemia vera. Why does he order a bone marrow biopsy to confirm it.
Well, if he ordered a bone marrow biopsy to confirm it, it would be weird that you told us that you already had a diagnosis and a confirmation. If it
Because
has been
the
confirmed.
markers are in my blood. The hormone markers are in my blood.
Correct.
Destiny.
But you said that you'd received a diagnosis, but now you just told me that you got a bone marrow biopsy to
It's
confirm.
a diagnosis, and now we're confirming.
Sure.
It's called a confirmation. The hormone markers are already in my blood.
Yep. So I think what happened
We
is,
are
Boogie,
confirming
based on
it with the
everything.
biopsy because I'm wanting to do that because I'm praying to God I don't fucking have cancer.
He doesn't care.
I'm praying to God I'm taking the 1 in a million fucking chance that they're fucking wrong and that there's another reason that I have the hormone fucking imbalances in my blood.
Yeah. Why are you praying to God 2 years after you said that you have cancer that you don't have cancer?
Because 2 years ago, they told me I have polycythemia vera based on the fact that I had increased red blood cell counts, increased hemoglobin, and the hormone markers in my blood. And it all spelled pretty definitively that I have this. And so he wanted to get a bone marrow biopsy, but it is intrusive and expensive, so they decided to forego it. I would like to still get it done because I am hopeful, I am praying that there's a fucking merciful God of the world that would be willing to fucking let this be wrong, even though it most certainly is not.
Remember, Boogie said back in November 2022 that he was officially diagnosed with polycythemia vera, yet he just admitted he never actually was. The doctors just assumed he might have it based on the factors he listed. He just never got the bone marrow test to confirm it because he didn't have the money. That means while it's possible he might have it, he never was diagnosed with it. Meaning that not only has he been waiting for almost 2 years to see if he actually has cancer or not, he's been lying to everyone for the past 2 years about actually having it in his typical fashion to make people pity his existence in this world. Another thing I caught is that when arguing with one of the co-hosts, Tommy C, Boogie would say his girlfriend was in the room when she heard about the news of him supposedly getting diagnosed with cancer.
I was in the fucking room. My girlfriend was in the fucking room.
It's not the most important piece of info, but given in July 2023 it came out he was dating a 20-year-old while being 48, it's possible she might have been 19 when they started dating, but I don't really care to dig into this any further. However, for anyone who cares, this might be something worth digging into. Boogie would start to argue with Destiny, saying that despite not getting officially diagnosed, he basically had it without actually getting any type of confirmation. And he would start to ask him for medical papers showing that he was officially diagnosed with it as he started to lose his mind on camera and avoid the conversation.
You could easily end this right now by just showing
I would rather you motherfuckers
Mm.
continue to LARP. I would rather you motherfuckers continue to LARP.
Okay, well, no,
than to
no,
have
here's an
the
easy
last
question.
Goddamn thing. The last goddamn thing.
You're the one who
last
keeps
piece
the
of
LARP.
security I have in the fucking world.
It would get to the point where Boogie would start telling people to push this story that he lied about having cancer rather than pull out a paper that proves he was diagnosed in this failed tough guy approach to the situation, showing that he has indeed been lying about having cancer for 2 years now for whatever reason he may have had, be it pity or just because he's a piece of shit.
And now you're being confronted. And now you're being confronted on one of the biggest lies on internet history.
I can't think of it.
And you won't prove it?
No.
You won't prove it?
I'd rather you go ahead and print it.
If this is true, and you lied about cancer, this is the biggest scandal on the internet.
And it's not, but go ahead and print it anyway. Go ahead and print it anyway. I'm pretty much prove it. None of you motherfuckers. I did this 2 years ago and I'm not doing it today. Go right ahead. Print it. Print it the way it is.
People would eventually start to pull money together to get Boogie to release a medical record and Keemstar to prove he has cancer, with Boogie adamantly against it for the obvious reason being he actually doesn't have cancer.
Yeah, 10,000. You're not seeing my medical records for 20, not for 50. You're not seeing my medical records.
$5,000.
I said
I don't get it. You leak your own medical history, but you won't leak
Just remember, okay, so then I just want people to remember in the future then, when Boogie says, I have to do XYZ scam to raise money because my medical bills are hurting so much, he can speak publicly about his medical issues to scam his fans to raise money, but he can't take $5,000 to privately confirm a diagnosis that he already publicly said that he has. Doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Destiny would leave and get back to his podcast, and the rest of the Locale Live crew would start to ask more questions about when Boogie said he got diagnosed and such. But to be fair, it's nothing very interesting as we already know he lied about having cancer and it was mainly just more them trying to get to the bottom of everything. Some ordinary gamers would come in and talk shit, but the most interesting guest to join was Mr. Medicare himself, the guy with actual cancer that Boogie wished death upon earlier, in which he says how Boogie can simply screenshot the part where it says he has polycythemia vera and get this all over with.
Okay, and so it lists the cancer there?
Yes.
Okay, so you could screen cap that and just show it. I mean, that's what I did, and then that would be the end of it.
Absolutely. And I made the decision 2 years ago that I would not do that, and I would rather leave the internet than to give the last shred of fucking privacy I have left.
He would continue to say he wants to keep his privacy, but they all kept telling him he could just redact important information, and it became pretty clear this is the only avenue Boogie had left to go down to try and get himself out of this scandal.
Could you screen cap that and then pick one of these three guys, because you've worked with them, and show them, but nobody else, because I'm sure everybody would.
That's something I could do, and I will never do it. Never do it. But between now and when I die, they'll never see it.
Because I don't know, like I don't know your relationship.
I'll have it tweeted when I'm dead. Don't worry about that.
But I guess
when I'm gone. They'll see when I'm gone.
But if they're giving you this accusation, right? I don't get why it would shut them up immediately, right?
Yeah, sure.
And then nobody else would ever have to see it. You keep your privacy.
Sure would.
I don't understand why you wouldn't be willing. I mean, that just seems weird to me.
I'm good.
You're gonna walk away from this. Looking like
I'm not walking away from. Yeah, I'm not walking.
Well, no, but I mean, it's going to look like you made it up now.
Sure, let him have it. I'm good.
Boogie would even start to say how he was going to walk away from his internet career rather than show a screenshot of being diagnosed.
Dude,
so you're saying you're gonna walk away. No more YouTube, Twitter, any of that shit.
Yeah.
But okay,
this is too much, man. This is too much.
But why? Why? Aside from this shit, if you walk away from the show, but why?
This is too much, man.
Dude, the problem is it's taken so long for you to even get that screenshot. By the time you send us the screenshot, people are going to be like, well, he made it.
Yeah, the damage already done.
He made a fake screenshot at that time.
Exactly. There is no way out of it. It's already over.
The money pool starts to grow and grow, going from 20 to 30 to 50K, with things capping out at 80K before the stream ended, meaning that Boogie could make enough money to cover his house for a bit on top of the so-called medical expenses he needs. Yet he continues to say no because of privacy reasons, when everyone know that he got caught lying and even he knew it was over.
It'd be 80,000.
Yeah, okay. We're at 80,000. You might as well just say $1 million, because we even put up a scenario. If someone gave him $1 million, would he take it? And he said no.
After this downfall, it would only get worse for him, as CoffeeZittle would drop a video on July 11th showing his conversation with Boogie about his cancer payments, in which Boogie got very confrontational after Coffee found out he lied about paying for certain medical expenses during a certain time frame, including saying that 2 payments were made after their initial conversation, despite saying he did so before they spoke together.
Boogie claimed that it was really intended for medical expenses after we spoke, and that when he said the money was gone, he meant it colloquially and then accused me of lying. Wait, that's on June 28th. That's on June 28th. You showed me a payment for $550 on June 28th, which is after we talked, after you told me the money was all gone.
Yes! Have you never heard of the colloquialism? Yeah, that money's all gone, it's all spent. I have a specific thing I need to do with it. Have you never heard that colloquialism? Use fucking Google then. It's very common.
I'm saying...
I'm not used to this level of scrutiny. I'm not used to this level of scrutiny.
It would go on further, as Boogie would now say how he needs the crypto money for his mortgage instead of cancer treatment. And when Coffee brought this up, it was by a sheer magic coincidence that Keemstar just decided to not pay him for that month for his work on Local Live on top of a business trip as well.
You understand?
You're not getting Where's your podcast payment coming from? You got that on the 30th.
It's being fucking kept so we could go for this goddamn trip. The money's coming out of my goddamn paycheck.
So you're going on a trip.
Yes, I'm being forced to go up there to film the fucking podcast live. I told him I didn't want to. He told me the business was going to pay for it. And then he just said he's taking it out of the check.
Boogie would even go on to accuse Coffee of editing the clip out of context when he showed Keemstar behind the scenes before he dropped it publicly, showing him trying to manipulate the situation to make himself out to be a victim in a scummy yet not surprising way given how he's like.
You told him that you weren't getting paid from this show. He played the fucking recording because he recorded you.
Then why? Then I understand that. Do you think people can edit things to be a little bit out of context?
By this point, it was very obvious that Boogie lied about having cancer and was saying and doing anything he could to get himself out of it, be it lie about others behind the scenes or manipulate narratives like he's known for doing. But even he knew it was so over, as he since deleted his Twitter account and has been AWOL from the internet as far as we can see. Boogie has pretty much gone radio silent to the public since he got exposed for scamming his fans and also lying about having cancer. His brother's trying to back up his word, which I understand given his family and such. But frankly, it's so sad to see, because even though I'm not shocked he would stoop so low like this, you would think the man who's known for self-pity manipulating people would have a limit, but clearly he doesn't. I don't expect Boogie to stay off the internet forever like he's currently saying. I think he'll be back sooner than later. And while I wish he would just stop all this lying and manipulation, I doubt he'll ever stop. So I'm just gonna sit back and wait for what happens next if anything happens at all. As you can tell, I don't really like Boogie. I haven't liked him for about 5 years. That's when I started to really notice how he would manipulate people into feeling sorry for him, and it was frankly pathetic to see. And honestly, he's one of the prime examples of what not to become in life. He's become so content with being an internet lolcow to the point he's very self-aware of it. Yet despite using this as an opportunity to better himself and control or even stop the tendencies that made him into what he is today, he instead keeps it up thinking that because he's self-aware the things he's doing it's all of a sudden better somehow. It's that whole dilemma where a bad person knows they're bad yet they don't do anything to better themselves because they feel acknowledging they're bad is good enough. And while it's been funny to watch in the sidelines for years now, seeing that he's willing to lie about having cancer really got a lot more people noticing this stuff about the guy. It's not exactly out of character for Boogie, but it is what it is, I suppose. That's how some people on the internet are like. And until he returns, I'm gonna get back to work on other stuff in the meantime.